A normal day in Japan, where a peaceful couple discovered that life had a special gift waiting for them, one that arrived not through planning, but through the natural rhythm of everyday life. Mary and her husband had been married for many years. Although they did not have children, they had built a life together that was filled with gentle routines and mutual care. Each morning felt like a quiet celebration of partnership, sharing breakfast to enjoy the freshness of the day. One particular morning stood out, even though it began like any other. Mary stepped outside with her broom, as she often did, to sweep the small front porch. And then it happened. A door nearby opened, and out came a young man Mary had only seen in passing. His name was Ken, though she did not yet know that. He lived alone in the apartment next door, usually coming and going quietly. That morning, however, their paths crossed. At first, it was just a polite greeting, the kind neighbors exchanged without much thought. But something in the moment felt different. Perhaps it was the way Ken hesitated, as though unsure how to balance his busy life with the small kindness of conversation. Or perhaps it was Mary's natural warmth, her ability to notice when someone might be carrying more than they let on. Ken was in his mid-20s, dedicated to his work and ambitious about his future. But beneath that determination was a quieter truth. He was living far from his family, and most days, his meals consisted of instant noodles or whatever quick snack he could grab between meetings. His apartment, though functional, lacked the comfort of companionship. He rarely had time for himself, and even less for building connections with others. This chance encounter was not about traumatic tension or sudden revelations. It was about the quiet recognition that human beings, no matter how independent they may appear, are built to connect, to belong, and to care for one another. Mary did not see Ken as just a neighbor. She saw a person who, like everyone else, could benefit from kindness, from being acknowledged, from feeling included. In just a few minutes, what began as a routine morning became the seed of a bond that would grow into something far greater than any of them expected. It was a reminder that family is not defined only by blood, but also by the care we extend to those around us. This was the beginning of a story about love in its purest form, love expressed through attention, kindness, and the willingness to invite someone into your life. And although Mary and her husband did not yet realize it, their home was about to gain more than just a new friendship. It was about to gain laughter, companionship, and the warmth of a chosen family. As days turned into weeks, the connection between Mary, her husband, and Ken began to grow in the most natural way. At first, it was just casual greetings when they crossed paths outside their homes. But soon, those short exchanges transformed into longer conversations, shared cups of tea, and simple meals together. What started as polite neighborly gestures blossomed into genuine care, as though life itself had decided to weave their stories together. Ken, who had grown used to solitude, found himself pleasantly surprised at how refreshing it felt to have people ask about his day. Mary often prepared small portions of extra food and would bring them over with a smile, saying, "We made too much tonight. Would you like some?" Her husband, steady and thoughtful, offered practical advice when Ken mentioned his busy workload. Neither of them tried to fill the emptiness in Ken's life with dramatic declarations. Instead, they gave him what he needed most: presence, consistency, and kindness. Ken slowly opened up, admitting that most of his meals were instant noodles or quick takeout, not because he disliked cooking, but because he rarely had the time or energy. He confessed how exhausting it could be to juggle long hours at work with the pressures of building a career. Mary listened without judgment, offering encouragement rather than pity. Her husband reassured Ken that hard work was valuable, but so was rest, health, and balance. It was during one of these shared dinners that something quietly powerful happened. Ken looked around the table, at the neatly set dishes, the warm lighting, the gentle laughter that filled the room, and realized how much he had missed this feeling. It wasn't about the food, it was about belonging. The atmosphere reminded him of his childhood, of evenings when his family would gather together, before distance and adulthood pulled him away from those traditions. Mary noticed the subtle change in his expression. Without saying much, she prepared a small room for him in the family apartment, as if to say, "You are welcome here. You matter here." That unspoken message carried more weight than any words. For Ken, it was as if a door had quietly opened, inviting him into a sense of home he had not felt in years. From then on, their bond deepened. Ken began stopping by more often, not out of obligation, but because he felt lighter, calmer, and more complete when he was with them. Mary and her husband, too, found joy in these moments. Their home, once filled with peaceful silence, now echoed with laughter, shared stories, and the playful rhythm of conversation. What they had once longed for, the lively energy of family life, was now present in a new and unexpected form. The beauty of it all was how effortless it felt. There was no need for grand gestures or dramatic promises. Their relationship grew out of simple acts, sharing meals, talking about everyday challenges, celebrating small victories. Each interaction added another layer of trust, affection, and understanding. In the end, it was Ken who put those feelings into words. One day, when Ken met Mary's husband on the street, he said softly, "Thank you for making me feel at home." The husband looked at Ken, and their eyes lit up with quiet happiness. For them, those words meant a great deal. It wasn't about filling a void or solving a problem. It was about realizing that love has the power to create family wherever it is freely given. The climax of their story was not a dramatic event, but a realization three people who, by simply caring for each other, had created something bigger than themselves. They had discovered that home is not only a physical space, but also the warmth of connection, the comfort of being accepted, and the joy of being valued. For Mary, her husband, and Ken, the deepening of their bond was beautiful, but it also brought moments that tested their patience and understanding. Ken, though grateful for the care and warmth he received, sometimes felt uneasy. He wondering if his presence was a burden. The thought lingered in his mind. Do I deserve this kindness? Am I asking for too much? Mary sensed his hesitation. Instead of pushing him, she gently reassured him. Her words carried a sincerity that helped Ken release the doubts he held inside. From that day on, Ken allowed himself to relax more in their presence. He stopped worrying about being a burden and started embracing the joy of giving back. The couple, in turn, continued to treat him not as a guest, but as someone whose presence enriched their lives. The challenges they faced became reminders that relationships, whether by blood or by choice, require understanding, communication, and mutual care. Together, they had proven that love can endure doubts, heal insecurities, and create harmony where once there was only solitude. Mary, her husband, and Ken discovered that even small acts, sharing meals, offering encouragement, listening, can transform lives. In our own journeys, we too can create spaces of warmth and belonging, proving that love is the foundation of every true home.